David McCaughey is going to talk to us. David is a past president of Club 13. He's long time been involved with youth through his Club 13, almost 100-year-old youth camp. If you don't know about that, talk to him later. It's a great opportunity. He's been a scout leader for many years. He's involved in district leadership for Toastmasters. He's a busy guy. He owns a business. If I didn't mention before, it's a computer services business. So he's a valuable part of our organization and leadership, and he'll be the governor that follows me. So David, welcome.
Thank you very much, Don. So a little bit about what I want to talk about for the next 10 minutes or so is leadership and leading your club by example. First off, I want to congratulate all of you. You are Rotary leaders. If you don't realize that, you are a very, very select handful of club presidents. In our District 6040, there are over 2,000 Rotarians, but there are only 56 club presidents. So that makes you part of a very unique 3% of Rotary membership in this area. So don't take that lightly. It's a great honor. It's a great privilege. And the members of your club have selected you to have this role because they believe that you will be a good leader. So one of the models, if you look up leadership and leadership styles and leadership examples, there's probably 1 million books that have been published on this topic. One of the styles that I want to talk about that I think works very well as a model for a Rotary leader is a style known as servant leadership. What servant leadership is all about is it's serving others. It's not leading by your title just because you're president. It involves the process of helping people develop and perform as highly as possible. And we want to promote this concept of team ownership. Now, as hard as this is to believe, I actually was first introduced and learned about servant leadership when I was a corporal in the United States Marine Corps. When I went through the training for that many, many years ago, the one thing that has always stuck with me over the years is that in the Marine Corps, the privates eat first and the generals eat last. So the whole idea there is when it comes time to line up for chow, especially when you're out in the field, the very first people that you want to take care of is those guys that are out on the front line. So you want to make sure the lowest ranking people get fed first. And if there's a problem or there's a breakdown, the people that were responsible for that are not going to be able to eat if they ran out of food. So that concept of putting your people first has always really stuck with me over all of these years. So what is a servant leadership? As a servant leader, we're basically saying servants come first. You're going to focus on the needs of the others, especially on your club members before you consider yourself. You're going to acknowledge other people's perspectives. Rotary is a very diverse organization with a lot of different opinions. You're going to give them the support they need. You're going to involve them in decisions when it's appropriate. Don't forget you have a board of directors. You president-elects have a president nominee behind them. So make sure you involve your team members to develop this sense of community so that we can have a very successful year. What is it that servant leaders do? They devote themselves to serving the needs of the organization. They focus on meeting those needs of those people they lead. They want to bring out the best of them by developing them. Don't forget that you are the biggest coach in the club and you want to do everything you can to encourage them. You want to facilitate their growth, and you want to also listen and build a sense of community. So what are the qualities of a servant leader? One of the key ones is they value diverse opinions. Like I mentioned, Rotary is becoming a very diverse organization. Hopefully we continue to strive to do that. But with all of these different demographics that we have, there's going to be some very differences in opinions on how we should move forward. So you want to make sure that you have open ears and you get welcome opinions from all the different various groups that may be in your club. We also want to create a culture of trust. When you're trusted as a leader, that gives you a lot of abilities to do things. When your club members look at you and they trust you, when you come up with a new idea, they're much more likely to follow you because they're going to trust, oh, I know what Kent's doing. I'm going to follow along with Kent. I've known him from years. He's a good leader. I trust him that he's going to move us forward. And it can take several years to build up that sense of trust, but it can only take seconds to break it, and it can take a long time to repair it. So remember, it's a very valuable thing, and you want to do everything you can to maintain that sense of trust that you have with your members. You also want to develop other leaders. This may sound a little gruesome, but another thing that I learned in the Marine Corps is that any given second, something can happen to you and you may not be available, and that person that's standing in line behind you may have to pick up on a second's notice and move the unit forward after you. So make sure that remember to develop other leaders in your club. Keep an eye out on people that are getting things done in the club. Invite them, give them committee responsibilities, committee chairs. Keep a lookout for those next people that are going to be good board members, so that once they get on the board and they do things, then you have a good pool of candidates that are available to become the next club leaders. You also want to encourage all of your club members. Like I mentioned before, you're going to be the coach. You're going to be the #1 cheerleader. You're going to be the person that is standing up there at every meeting from week to week. And you're going to be the one that's going to energize the club. You're going to inspire the members. So that is a really good sign. And one of the keys there, and this is something I learned as a teenager when I was working at a restaurant as the dishwasher. I started off as a dishwasher and worked my way up to cook. And I had a restaurant manager that always said, hey, let's go out and bus tables. Hey, let's go out and clean up the salad bar. Hey, let's go up and wipe down the foyer. And it was that he overused the word let's, but it was always me doing the work. So it was kind of like the running joke got to be when he would tell us to do something. It's like, so do you have a mouse in your pocket that's going to go out there and do all this work? Because I sure don't see the we in everything that you're suggesting that we do. It seems to be a lot of I that we're doing. You also become a salesperson. You want to sell your ideas. You want to persuade people on why it's important that they join you, why it's important that we do that, why it's important that we get involved in this service project. You don't really want to be there telling them you need to show up on Saturday morning to help us clean up the street. You want to tell them why that's important and get them to buy in and do it because they want to do it, not because it's something that they've been told to do. Again, servant leaders, they think of you first. They don't think of themselves. They want to focus on what it is that others can do to help the organization move forward. You also want to think long term. In Rotary, this upcoming year, July 1st, is going to be a really important year for you, but it's not the only year. Rotary is going to continue on after that. So you want to think about the long term, what's going to be happening 2 and 3 years from now. And with certain Rotary projects, you're not going to be able to get it done during your Rotary year. So you want to be thinking about the long term, what's going to be happening with your club 2 and 3 years after you've become a past president. And finally, the biggest one is act with humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. So really, and not only just in Rotary, but I think in life in general, it's very key to act as recognize your own capabilities and the needs for others, and to put other people first. It's one of the other things, it's better to lead from behind than it is from out front. So I'm going to finish up with just what I think are really 3 key points to remember from the few minutes that I've had, is that as a club leader, you're going to want to put your people first, your members first. You're going to want to listen. And finally, you're going to want to serve others. So hopefully you've taken away 1 or 2 little key nuggets from this on what I know will be a very, very successful year for you as a club leader. One of the things that will help you with that is going to be building your club's public image. And so now at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Kirby Asplin, who is with the Lee Summit Club, and he is the district's public image chair, and he's going to talk to you about public image.